I knew I needed to do something for myself. So I started looking at online trading a little bit. I started looking at online marketing stuff, and I tried a little bit of everything, and I really kind of landed on property. And it wasn't until I took my own financial future in my own hands, because no one's going to take care of me except for me. No one's going to rescue me at the bottom. It's kind of all on me, and I'm 16,000 miles from home, from a very small family. It's just kind of all or nothing. So I needed to make the opportunity of living in London to my advantage by meeting as many people as I could, learning as much as I could, and kind of getting out of my own way. And when you start peeling it back, stuff like fear of being judged and fear of failing, they aren't real. They're just blockers.
Welcome to Push to Be More with me, your host, Matt Edmundson. Now, this is a show that talks about the stuff that makes life work. And to help us do just that, today I'm chatting with Jeff Hancock from CoinPass about where he's had to push through, what he does to recharge his batteries and to be, as well as what he's doing to be more. What does growth look like? Well, these are all questions that we're going to get into. And the notes from our conversation will be available on the website, along with all the links at pushtobemore.com. And whilst you're there, if you haven't done so already, make sure you sign up for the email newsletter, and we will email you automatically the notes and the links from the show for each guest. It's an amazing thing. So just go get it. It's worth it. Now, this episode is brought to you by Orient Media, which helps entrepreneurs and business leaders set up and run their own successful podcast. Oh, yes. But why would you want to host your own podcast? Which I think is a fair question. For me, I can't find a better marketing tool at the moment right now for what we do, genuinely, unless it's e-com and we need paid media. But that's another story. But on the whole, podcasting has just been super rewarding for me. We have 4 podcasts. We're just about to launch our 5th, and then there's a 6th one not slowly following that one. Let me tell you why. Because they are incredible marketing machines. They open doors to amazing people like nothing I've seen. I've built networks, made friends, and had a platform to champion my customers, my team, and my suppliers. And I think just about any entrepreneur or business leader should have a podcast, simply because of the huge impact it's had on my own business. Which of course sounds great in theory, doesn't it? But there's the whole problem of setup, distribution, getting the tech right, knowing what the right podcast strategy is. I mean, the list goes on. And this is where Orient Media enters the scene. They take all of that off your plate, which means you just get to do what you're good at, which is talking to other people. So if you're wondering if podcasting is a good marketing strategy for your business, do connect with them at aurionmedia.com. That's AURION media.com. So that's the show's sponsor, aurionmedia.com. Let's talk about the show's guest. Jeff is a crypto enthusiast with a background in cybersecurity. But before he found his calling in the world of crypto, he spent time working in the casino and finance industry. In 2017, during the first crypto bull run, Jeff saw the need for a better way for UK users to trade crypto and founded CoinPass with his co-founders. Oh yes, now with a passion for blurring the line between crypto and finance, Jeff is dedicated to making crypto accessible and safe for everyone. Yes, he is. So Jeff, welcome to the show, man. Great to have you. How are you doing?
I'm well, Matt. Thank you for having me along. Really great intro. I've definitely put podcasting into our marketing strategy once upon a time. But the overhead of finding guests, getting them on board, pre-screening, production, and then distribution was always one of the things that is a lot of time. So I'm sure your sponsor is doing a good job. Then I'll definitely take a look at that when we relaunch it. I think we did about 27 or 30 episodes during COVID. It was a good way to stay in touch with people. The crypto market was still in its own boom during COVID. And that was a period of time, I'm sure we'll get into. We had to nearly double the size of the company just to keep up. So, no, it's been a wild ride.
It's not a bad problem to have, is it, really?
Yeah, not the worst thing, but it was obviously had its own challenges.
Yeah, no doubt. So what was the podcast called?
The CoinPass podcast, nice and simple. Went out on all the major streaming platforms, We did the artwork in house. The first 10 episodes were just good mates of mine that I've met through
Yeah.
the crypto space. And then, started kind of getting some more people in. And then business just started taking over. Really couldn't scale it with the time input that was required from me and some of the rest of the team. But it's something we are looking to relaunch in the future as well.
Yeah, fascinating. So the CoinPass podcast. So let me ask you a question, Jeff. Just the same question I ask all, I guess, actually, because we are sponsored by Orion. If you, let's say your CoinPass podcast is up and running, but if you could interview anybody on the show from your past or present that's had a big influence on your life, that's my only caveat. They've had a big influence on your life.
Ooh.
Who would you have as a guest and why?
Well, I'd probably have one of the most non-crypto people ever, who was one of my original kind of business mentors. He's a property guy named Simon Zucci, and I met him at a property event. I saw it on the internet, went along. It was at the Excel, big, huge expo bit. I got a copy of his book from his stand, listened to one of his talks, and out of the 30 people sitting there, I managed to win a ticket to his little miniature, little one-day course that obviously got to the next one, one. But his principles of just boiling it down to keeping it absolutely simple, and the whole the whole premise of that business was working with people. Not dealing with people and trying to get the best deal on this. It was about dealing with people and giving them what they need. And some of those principles, rung very, very true to what I've been doing in my previous careers. Like every other Australian, I started out in hospitality behind a bar, worked in hotels, casinos for about 6 years, doing tech, infrastructure and cybersecurity. So it's a highly regulated environment, highly secure, 500 servers, 4,000 staff, and on a very boring Monday, we'd have 20 to 30,000 guests through the door. Now, just because I work in tech doesn't mean that I was behind the scenes at all times. I was required to, work with investor relations, work with the eye in the sky, work with the video techs, finance, dealers, the cage, even the vault, which is nothing like it looks on any Ocean's 11 movie. There's only one guard with a shotgun. There's not two guys with an Uzi. Just a really long hallway. But I also dealt with a lot of the guests. I've met some very famous ones. Aussie rock star John Farnham couldn't get on the Wi-Fi. Went up to his room at 11:30 at night, and I went, "You're John Farnham. Hi, nice to meet you." I met one of the Qatari princes because his son's iPad was on the fritz, and they had the whole 22nd floor. It's about 200 people that they'd hired it out for, and I had to go through their layers of own security just to fix his son's iPad. And there was always this part of keeping it simple, putting the customer first, and providing an amazing service. And that's the same as hospitality. I brought all of that into my tech career. I moved to the UK and worked in data centers for a little while I was on my working visa. And again, we were selling tech to customers. And one sales guy would sell the dream, and someone has to go and install the reality. And when you're dealing with not just the business owner, but the people that are inside that business using the tech you sold them, adding that little tiny 5% of the extra add-ons and auto sign-in and some of the cataloging and tagging and whatever else there might have been. And these are very big, well-known brands as well. But just that little tiny extra little bit of service makes it go massively far. And even some of those clients I haven't worked for now in 7 or 8 years, but my mobile number is still floating around on some message board somewhere in someone's office saying, "Oh, if this breaks, give Jeff a call." And unfortunately now, after 8 years, I can't help you. I'm sorry. You called me, so I was still sending my old boss's clients back to him after this amount of time, and that just goes to show that little bit of extra care, that little bit of extra people. Because people just want to be treated like people, is definitely a good business move. And that's how we carried through to when we started CoinPass. It's 2017, 2018. And a few people had come to me. I had my fingers in property, in consulting, in crypto, and trading, as well as doing my cybersecurity consulting with a very large hedge fund called SoftBank. And they said, "How do I buy £20,000 worth of Bitcoin with no FX exposure?" That means going into euro, going US dollars. Sorry. And I said basically, there's only one or two platforms in the UK right now. It still requires you to send your pounds to Lithuania or Estonia. There's no banks in the UK that'll accept it properly. You may as well, and you'll wait 3 or 4 days. The pricing isn't as good. You'll lose 3 to 5%. Just take the FX hit. And they go, why not? Why isn't there a better solution? And that's where it comes down to me opening my big mouth and saying, let's start our own one. And that's literally where it came out. And I've actually still got it back here. If I can go back really quick, I've got the original bar drawn
Wow.
business schematic and everything on there. And that was the original bit of paper from the very, very first session. We sat down at the pub, 11:30 p.m. on a Monday in Clapham, and drew it out really. And pretty much 50%, 60% of that is still valid today, which is quite cool.
Wow. And that's how CoinPass was born.
That's how it was born, out of kind of a stupid conversation out of how to invest into something. And it was in the middle of a bear market at the time. So Bitcoin was like $2,500 at the time. It's now over 30. And that was originally the start of it. We built some banking relationships. We put our own money into it. We didn't do a fundraise. We put our own developers on board, and it was all a side hustle for the first 8 months until we launched it. And the business plan was sell 1 Bitcoin to 1 person. And at midday on the first day we launched, we're like, what do we do now? We've just hit our year 1 goal, was to get everyone's going to buy little bits. We thought we were going to have a bit of a dollar cost averaging platform. We'd see thousands of little tiny deposits, and then someone just dunks like 5K in the account and just pushes the buy button. We're like, oh, what next? Now we have a business on our hands. So that's how it kind of started out. A bit of a play on words, a bit of fun. How can we make it better? What's everyone else doing? Why is it so hard? And we're still here 5 years later, competing with the big boys.
Which is fantastic. And I love how it just started with a chance conversation, a random sort of, I think to quote you, Jeff, opening my big mouth.
Yeah,
and the reason I'm laughing
still my
is
fault. I still have there every now and then. It's like, this is all your fault.
Yeah, why not, right? Why not? The reason I'm laughing is because I can totally empathize. And I know so many people that can, because they just happened to open their mouth one day and the next day a business was started.
Yeah.
Which I think is just hysterical, because it's not about planning sometimes. It's just about having a go and see what happens.
No, it's definitely about doing. And I think especially in the crypto space, because it moves so fast, on the tech side, on the investment side, on the, obviously on pricing, it's extremely volatile. And all of those things people love about it. There's something in crypto for everybody. Whether you're a long-term investor, a lot of property guys like just putting a couple of £1,000 away, sitting on it for 5 or 6 years. They're not trying to day trade it. We've got a few law firms, accountancies, even a supercar dealer that takes stable coin payments. And a stable coin is kind of a crypto token that's pegged to a US dollar, so it doesn't move. And they can, instead of taking that US dollar payment from all over the world, it might take a week to clear. It might only cost $20, $30. But using a crypto-based stablecoin, they can have it in their wallet in 2 or 3 minutes. They can liquidate it instantly and have those pounds in their bank account within an hour. So I personally wouldn't have bought a Range Rover for £190,000, but someone or one of our clients wanted to. And he's like, I could take a stablecoin payment. It's going to cost me, $50 in fees, which he tags onto the price. And he's able to take that payment instantly from any client anywhere in the world. So it opens up a lot of kind of possibilities. We've even helped a couple of charities launch their kind of global fundraising campaign by taking crypto donations. So now they're accessing a new market of people that are trading, getting their yield in crypto. They know that the crypto is going directly to that specific charity. It's not going through a person on the street, which then gets paid a salary, which then filters its way up the chain, and only 5 or 10p out of every pound raised actually makes to the charity. They know that 100% of that crypto is making it to the charity. So that's why I say there's something in crypto for everybody. There's so many different use cases that are constantly being improved, constantly changed. And the only thing slowing it down is really regulations, which can't move fast enough.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the impression that I get is people can't keep up with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not definitely a bad thing. They're doing the best job they can. We were one of the first companies in the UK to get our FCA registered license in 2021, I think it was. And I could see that going up to a higher level of status in the future. But that list is still very small. There's only 38, maybe 40 companies on that list that have permissions to do crypto in the UK, and we're one of the first.
So I guess, do you find, Jeff, that there's still a lot of people that don't really understand crypto? There's still a lot of
Definitely.
confusion
Yeah.
about it?
I think there's confusion about it, about what they're buying and what they can do with it. And that's what I say, there's something for everyone. If you're looking to trade a volatile asset because you're a trader, then there's something there for you. If you're looking to buy and hold something long term because you've read a bit about it, there's only a fixed amount of Bitcoin that's ever going to exist. Or you want to do, something with staking and earning and yielding, that kind of stuff. There are different kind of mechanisms for it, but you don't have to understand all of the technical under how to run a wallet. It's good to know the security of it because you can become your own bank, and that can be very scary or very empowering for the right people. But you don't need to know what a SegWit is. You don't need to know every different type of wallet. You just need to follow some kind of common sense rules in protecting yourself online, like you would your bank account, your debit card, anything else like that.
Yeah. No, it's powerful. Do you do the day trading thing yourself, or do you sort of stay clear of that?
I've proven myself many times over and over, I'm not a very good trader. I've definitely got the patience for it,
Right.
but I don't, definitely not on day to day, but if it's more of like a weekly or a monthly thing, I kind of look at longer term trends. So I draw some very, very stupid support and resistance lines. So here's a time where Bitcoin's come down to the same level at least twice. And here's 2 or 3 times Bitcoin's hit a level 2 or 3 times. And that might be over several months or even several years. And sometimes it plays out exactly like it says on the charts. It'll get down, it'll get a little bit below it, it'll bounce up again. I'm definitely more on the investor side or a digital hoarder. So I will, if it dips 5-10%, I'm a buyer if I have capital available. I'm buying the same amount every week, regardless of the price is. That's called a dollar cost average, something that you might do with your ISA or your pension. You just put the same $100 in every month or $10 a week or whatever it is. And regardless of the price, you're always accumulating, because I have a much more longer term strategy when it comes to most of my investments.
Yeah.
Will I go in and change the ratios every now and then? Yeah, sure. I've bought a bunch this year when the price is really low. There's now been a bit of an increase. I might shave some of those profits off and invest into another token. So I'm kind of getting those tokens for free. I've also taken part in a lot of what we call airdrops. So if I have an Ethereum wallet and it's got some Ethereum in it, I will then automatically be, able to claim free tokens that launch on different networks at different times. My probably favorite one to date, I think, was Uniswap when it first came out, and I think they dropped like 900 tokens in every wallet that had an Ethereum balance in it, and then I forgot about it for 2 years. Oh yeah, I got to go back and claim that, and I never put it in the diary, and I never bothered to do it. And a lot of people sold out when it was $1, $2, $5. So you imagine getting like $900 for free. I forgot to do it until every token was worth like $24 or $25. So that was a very happy Saturday, claiming
No kidding.
11 or 12,000 or something out of my account. I think it's just there is the knowledge bit. There's the very low level. I could buy a Bitcoin, I could leave it on a platform. I could buy some Bitcoin, I could take it to another wallet, and no one can ever take it from me. No one can ever freeze it. As long as I hold the security of it, you can travel all over the world with, 100 Bitcoin or £1 million in a USB key around your neck if you really want to. Or you can get to the more advanced layer where you're doing stuff in different ecosystems and different chains, which have a lot of advantages, some disadvantages. It might be expensive, but it depends on how deep down the rabbit hole you go. And I think that's the same with anything.
Yeah.
Anyone can start a podcast these days, and they're a very good marketing tool. And people might do 1 or 2 episodes and get bored. And some people go on to have a career like Joe Rogan or something like that. It depends on how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go. And I think crypto is one of those new things where you can get put off very easily because of all the jargon and the buzzwords, which I don't like. It should be inclusive for everybody.
So where's a good place to go to get started if you wanted to understand a little bit more about it?
So definitely our blog is a great place to start. Plug that in there. No. Anywhere, top of Google, good place to start. Top of YouTube, good place to start. I would just recommend staying away from influencers. Influencers just in their what they're described as they're paid to influence other people to do something. Finding good, reliable sources of knowledge and know-how is very key. And then I would say trying is the best way of learning, and doing is the best way of learning. So start with $50. Everyone can afford $50. They want to take their first little dip toe
Yeah.
dip in the sea. And difference from using crypto to move between wallets, and different from banking, is you have to pay for every transaction, which seems really, really foreign and really, really weird. We have free banking these days that we pretty much take for granted, because the banks can use that money to create lending and create leverage, and and some of the problems in the banking system. You want to send Bitcoin from one wallet to another, you have to pay a couple of cents. You want to send some Ethereum from one wallet to another and do something kind of tricky with it, stake it somewhere or get another token or whatever. Yeah, you might pay several dollars for that, and you're kind of paying to use. And that's the kind of the key difference. But you won't know any of that stuff until you actually go and try it for the first time.
Interesting. And should I just look at Bitcoin? You've mentioned Ethereum. Are there other ones that that's the bit I find confusing.
Yeah, they all have different things to do and different kind of what we call tokenomics, token economics. So if you take Bitcoin, that's the Ford Model T. That's been out there forever. It's the first one from 2009. You can see every single transaction that's ever occurred on the entire chain. So if I say, Matt, I'll send you a $5, I'll ask you the next day, did you get that $5? Because I have no idea if the bank actually sent it to you.
Yeah.
If I send you £5 worth of Bitcoin, I can actually see the transaction, and it's there forever. No one can ever change it. So it's really, really good for that kind of stuff. Bitcoin is the easy one. Obviously, I can't give anyone any financial advice, but if you were to try it for the first time, my opinion would be, don't go down the route of trying to find the shiny pennies, because there's 20,000 different tokens out there, and there's more coming out every day for no good reason. Bitcoin has a fixed amount. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin ever. That's just set in the code. It can't be changed. It can't be manipulated. And there's already 19.5 million in circulation or something like that. So It's pretty up there in terms of, it's going to take another 100 years or so for the last million or so to be unlocked. And I won't get into mining and all that kind of stuff now. It's not for this conversation. But there's a fixed amount. There's not enough go around. So make your own assumptions about that. Now, something like Ethereum, for instance, that has no ceiling on it. There will always be new Ethereum created. But as part of their mechanism to kind of keep the network moving and reward people that are using the network and stuff, they burn a certain amount of tokens every day as part of the gas fees. It kind of keeps the price under control. So it doesn't get used just as a investment mechanism. It gets used as a proper, moving, flowing ecosystem. Yeah. So they each have different rules, and they're governed in different ways. They are completely decentralized, but those are the two big ones that sit on either side of the crypto spectrum.
Well, I'm going to be checking out the blog, that's for sure. Back to your story a little bit, Jeff, if I can. I mean, part of this sounds absolutely fascinating, the fact you've got drawn into it and you've got your head around it and understand it all. What are some of the challenges that you faced yourself in all of this? Some of the obstacles that you've had to deal with and overcome?
Oh, definitely. I think before I even got started in investing, I've only been investing since 2014. So that's, let's do the math. It's only 9 years. So I've done a lot in that amount of time. Before 2014, I was a technical engineer. I was an introvert. I was very, I'd only been in the UK about 4 years at that time. I still only made a handful of friends. I was more concerned with getting an invite to the pub on a Friday night than looking at my financial future or anything like that. And then it really switched when I knew I wasn't going to get any further in the job role that I was in. I knew I needed to do something for myself. So I started looking at online trading a little bit. I started looking at online marketing stuff, and I tried a little bit of everything, and I really kind of landed on property. And it wasn't until I took my own financial future in my own hands, because no one's going to take care of me except for me. No one's going to, rescue me at the bottom. It's kind of all on me. And I'm 16,000 miles from home, from a very small family. It's just kind of all or nothing. So I needed to make the opportunity of living in London to my advantage by meeting as many people as I could, learning as much as I could, and kind of getting out of my own way. And when you start peeling it back, stuff like fear of being judged and fear of failing, they aren't real. They're just blockers. So as soon as I got over that, I was no longer doing overtime at work. I was speaking at property events once, twice a month on systemizing your property business to kind of take all the, one thing I was good at was tech, unpacking the different layers of a business and all the communication bits in between them, from the tech side, and then taking all that friction out of a an entrepreneur's property business. And I helped a few very well-known guys systemize their business and go from 5 staff up to 20. Some really, really small guys get their first property, and how do I manage it with a full-time job? It takes $100 a month to manage a property business, and all those are expensible if you have the right tax accountant, etc. So I used to do a lot of that kind of stuff, and that got me in front of some public speaking crowds of 5, 10 people, up to 50, up to 100, up to 250, up to speaking on panels, and that people are listening to me for what I had to say. So maybe I must be saying the right things, and that kind of got me out of my own shell a little bit. And then I kind of not that I didn't, obviously being invited for a beer is a nice thing, but I didn't care anymore, and it started to really made me think. And the more stuff you read as well, your network is your net worth, and the network of people I was working with, they aren't going to read this, so it's fine. They're still at the same job 8 years later, and I'm on my 3rd or 4th business from now. I've lost count. It's definitely about who you talk to, who you read, who you idolize, and how you want to move forward. And we can all set our own journey. But I think the biggest bit when I started this business was that I was no longer an engineer. I was CEO, co-founder, head of HR, head of marketing, strategy, product, everything I'd never done before in my life. So I had kind of a major identity crisis of what do I do? Am I doing it right? I had to learn and read and absorb everything on the fly and deploy it straight away as best as I could. And sure, like every startup, we made plenty of mistakes at the beginning. And we only overcome those by doing it, finding the problem, replicating someone that does it better, and trying to do it at the scale that we could afford. And we didn't raise a single pound of investment for our first 3 years. We were revenue only.
Yeah.
We got to 16 or 18 staff on payroll every single month. As a small business in the UK, that's been an achievement. But then add on crypto, add a hostile regulation environment, and then add all the big players, the ones you've all heard of, that have hundreds of millions worth of marketing. And we were still stealing clients from everyone every single week. So the biggest thing for me was getting out of my own way. People respected what I was doing, and I had to learn pretty much my 3rd career from scratch in my early 30s, which was pretty scary.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding at all. So, so this is, sorry, you said your 3rd or 4th business, and it's very different. Crypto is very different in a lot of ways to property. I suppose in a lot of ways, some of the principles are the same. Are you still involved in property, or is it just the crypto?
One at peak, I think I had 5 or 6 HMOs up in the Midlands. I have 1 left that is currently for sale. So when I say I have 4 or 5 businesses, let's unpack that a bit. This is probably my first public startup. So I've never done a startup business and then closed it and failed it. First one was property business. Second one was consulting. And then we had a software business that was supporting CoinPass as well. Now we've managed to roll that business up into our main exchange. So if you want to go back through Companies House weeds and stuff like that, it's technically 4. But this is my first kind of public startup, public users, where I don't know every single user and I don't onboard every single user. Whereas a property business, you usually know all your investors and you know all of your agents, and depending on the size of your portfolio, you'll know all of your tenants. This is definitely not like that at all.
Yeah, no, fair play indeed. And so, can I ask, why have you reduced your property portfolio, but you've increased obviously your holdings in crypto?
I did quite a lot of JVs. I had a few brokers that I talked to early on and said I was far too Australian to be doing property, which kind of just fueled me wanting to do it more. So I started by raising capital for other people's projects, which I was quite good at. I think in the first 2 years we were doing property, I raised 2.5 million worth of capital for other people. First thing I wanted a super bike, but I didn't want to pay for it. So I thought getting commissions was a good way to do that. And then what I could raise in capital, I could never back up with my own deal flow, because you've got to be on the ground, you got to talk with agents, constant research, You find 20 deals, one of them might be good just for you. That's why a lot of people package up deals and sell them, which is his own business all on its own. And very easy to get distracted. You find a deal that might be really good. It'll work in this kind of format, whether it's bought outright and developed, if it's a title split, It might be you rent it from the landlord and rent the rooms out individually, so a rent to rent or an option. So many strategies out there, and a lot of people get shiny penny syndrome and trying to do every deal. You can't do every deal.
No.
So when I say I got to 5, I think 3 of them were joint ventures. One of them we owned outright. One of them was an option or something like that. The option one was my first one with a family member. Had about 30 grand in negative equity. Needed 15K to get it up and running. Managed to refurb it in 3 weeks, and actually leased it to a medical company because it was right by a hospital. So we leased it to a medical company that put nurses in it for about 4 or 5 years, and then sold it for 5K more than he needed for his negative equity. So we got 5 years rental. We got a little bit of upcut in the end of it. All the solicitors paid for themselves and etc. And yeah, we saved brother-in-law 35K or something like that. So he was very, very happy.
Yeah,
And
no
that was
kidding.
just an example of one of those kind of, you package it in an interesting way that's still legal and everybody wins. It's just non-conventional. And there's a lot of the strategies I learned from my mentor, Mr. Zucchi.
Mr. Zucchi.
Yeah. My last one's a joint venture. I take basically care of everything. He was like the mortgage host. And yeah, we split the profits 50-50. So I do all the admin intensive stuff, all the reporting, dealing with the agents, dealing with the council, all the boring stuff. But the way I systemize my business, that it doesn't take me much time.
Yeah. No, fair play. What does growth look like for you then, Jeff? I mean, where's the sort of the future going? What's the sort of next 5 or 10 years on the horizon?
On myself or on the business?
Both, either.
Okay. So I think definitely done 13 years in the country now, again, small family back home. So I definitely have to start splitting my time.
Yeah.
The whole buying a big house, big car, blah, 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 doesn't really scream wealth to me anymore. In my early 20s or something, like, yeah, garage full of GDRs, awesome, go for it. But now it's definitely time and flexibility. And maybe that stands to your property question, might be liquidity as well. Having a portfolio of 10 properties is great, but when it's at like 80% loan to value and you're locked into some of these things for 10, 20 years, and then what we see what's happening now with interest rates, it's, there's a lot of stuff outside of your level of control.
Yeah.
Versus if you're day trading, yeah, the risk is higher, but the returns are higher. My strategy with long-term stuff, I don't feel that my portfolio is at much risk because I'm taking less risk on the way in and aiming for longer-term growth. So more of my portfolio is in crypto, but I can liquidate it at any time if I needed to. So I'm a bit more of a liquid state. But definitely getting back and forth from Australia and traveling a bit more is my primary right now. Quite happy renting with the state of inflation and interest rates. So renting is good. And I think eventually when I do get around to buying something, I'll have a small place here that suits my needs. I still have the farm back in Australia, but I do want to build my own little kind of dream housey thing on the side of a hill with a small bit of land back in Oz. So that's kind of the 5-year maybe personal plan. Business wise, expanding the business to more countries. Definitely our coverage is too small. We only cover 36 countries right now. So I definitely want to get over 100 countries. I want to get to a multiple license status. So having a license in Europe, license in Australia, a few other places like that, so we can onboard more countries. Team size, I'm quite happy being small and nimble. We've not replaced people, but haven't had to take more people on because we leverage our tech quite hard, from onboarding, compliance, all the reporting, all the finance stuff. A lot of that happens automatically in the background, as it should. I wouldn't see our business getting over 50, maybe 60 people at its peak. And like now, they're probably spread all over the world.
Well, so that's fascinating, and I'm living the dream. I'm with you on this sort of half the time here, half the time in Oz. I don't know if I should tell you this, but at least once a year I try and get out to New Zealand. And usually
that's further than Oz. It's another island.
It's just a little bit further on, but I love to go either October time or February time, whenever the clouds are a little bit too grey here in the UK, and I just need some sunshine. And so I get this sort of multi-location life.
And also doing UK hours at side of the world is actually brilliant. Sleep until 9, 10. I'd go out to the paddock and feed the horses. The horses are really confused. Someone's there at lunchtime. Go to the beach, see some friends in the afternoon, start work about 3 p.m. Break for dinner, finish about 11 o'clock at night. And those are actually my kind of more productive hours are in the afternoons
Right.
to evenings. It's where, when I'm not working on CoinPass, I'm working on maybe other projects or whatever it's going to be. And they happen majority after hours, which is, those are the shifts I used to do back in the casino days. I did a week of day shifts, and then a week of afternoon to midnight, and then a week of midnight to 8 a.m. So 2 out of 3 weeks I was working at night. So it was very, very normal to me.
Yeah.
Followed on versatility, followed on to everything else, followed on to London lifestyle. I don't mind 9 to 5. It's just it's a broken concept. Even my lovely head of HR, Sarah, is like, if I see you sending another email at 11 p.m., I'm going to get tech to reset your stuff. And I'm like, no, it's not like that. They're in Canada. It's the day. Leave it. It's definitely a give and take. I think the more you put into something, the more you get out of it. That's why I've found, I think, especially in this journey, some hobbies of mine quite difficult to maintain. COVID was a big bit of that. But if I don't have the time to put in, you know, uh, 10 hours a month into something, I don't know if I'd enjoy it as much as I think I should. So I've been looking to get back into, if I get a car, I really love my cars. I had a motorcycle for a little while until I was outvoted by my board to get rid of it. Probably a good idea, being a key man and stuff like that. But no, I think I'm even now I'm still working out a healthy work-life balance because I love what I do and I love connecting with clients and I love building cool stuff. But I think everyone needs to be able to draw a line and have an off switch every now and then.
So what is your off switch?
Well, I can't remember who read it. It was one of the 40-hour work weeks or Kiyosaki, whoever it was. You need 3 hobbies: one that keeps you creative, one that keeps you fit, and one that makes you money. So on the creative side, I'm still trying to figure that one out a little bit. I've actually done a couple of extras work in movies recently, which is a cool little creative side. No spoken roles yet, so I've not got an IMDb profile. 15 hours in one day is a long day. Whoever does extras work full time, massive respect to you guys. I found it actually took a lot of stuff out of my head. Like I wasn't thinking about work at all. I was relaxed, met some cool people, was on set all day, was all dressed and lights and this and this. And it was cool. I really enjoyed it. And I made a little bit of money, but that wasn't what it was for. Keeping fit, I did boxing for a number of years. I did one white collar boxing night, which I unfortunately didn't win. I sucker punched him in the second round because I didn't hear the ref properly. It's not important. It's quite stressful getting punched in the face as well, but I really love the stamina and the pad work and the coordination, and it's a very good community sport as well. If you go to the gym and just train for boxing stuff, everyone's extremely helpful and extremely nice. So I really love that. Or just normal gym stuff is cool. Do a lot of walking. I'm here in Woking in Surrey, so I've got a canal, we've got ducks and swans and all kinds of stuff. So definitely like getting outside nature and walking around a bit, seeing new stuff. And then on the money side, I'm quite a competitive poker player. So maybe twice a month, you'll find me down on the tables at Hippodrome. Very disciplined on the amount that I say invest, because every time I go back to the bank on a Monday and I have to cash in the winnings, they're like, where did this come from? But no, I have a very fixed bankroll. As soon as it comes out of the machine, I'm there to defend it. And it brings up my competitive side. There's a lot of strategy that goes into poker. There's a lot of math if you want to play that math. I tend to play in person instead of online. And I just love the game. It changes every single hand. You could be playing against a really, really loose guy. You could be playing against a really, really aggressive guy. You never, ever, ever try to 3-bet the old guy because he'll just run over you every time. But no, I've actually made some good friends there that I see once, maybe twice a month, and even some of the dealers know me now. So I'll go down in my CoinPass hoodie or my CoinPass sunglasses, and I'll sit down and go, oh, the crypto guy's here again. And then like half the table's like, oh, crypto? Where? And so it's almost like a bit of guerrilla marketing at the same time. But those are kind of my 3 hobbies that I'm trying to get myself out of work.
Fantastic. It's interesting to me, Jeff, listening to you talk about poker, how many people recently I've spoken to are really into poker, and I just never saw it. I was really surprised.
Yeah, online it's very ones and zeros and very mustard. You're click, win, loss. You don't see anybody. The table banter and the talk play is like 50% of the game. You only have to understand the cards and maybe the card structures, and understand. A full house is better than a straight, or 2 pairs, losers to three of a kind. You only have to understand the real basics of it, and you can pick it up quite quick. But I found it before COVID, we used to run like a crypto group that ran a tournament every month. And that event used to sell out within like 1 or 2 days. It was about 50 quid. You got one buy-in, or I think 2 buy-ins. There was a drink on arrival and like a slider or maybe some canapes, whatever. But the networking at that event was next level, because it was only people, it was fixed number. It was only decision makers. There was no retail people, and you wanted to fight to get a ticket to that because of the people you probably meet. So the table talk and the connections and the social part of it was really good. But also, I think the other bit, when I go and if I play now, and if a conversation does arise, it depends on the table. And there'll be one guy that talks about, he has a transport business. One guy is into art, and I'm into crypto or whatever. And there's a bit of the competitive aspect on it that if you say something out of line and you can't back it up with a bet, then instantly you've lost all your credibility. So there's of a no BS approach to when you're there. You get to completely be yourself. You can be as masked off or as open as you like. And if I say, I think, not financial advice, Bitcoin one day could get to 100K. He's like, well, how much would you bet on that? So, well, I'll bet you the next hand or whatever it is. But if I say, I would never take a bet, I've lost all my credibility now. So there's this unshielded sort of effect of being around people like that kind of competitive space where you are, money talks or takes the bus, one or the other. So I quite like it for that and the social aspect. And if you're good and you're patient and you learn a strategy and you don't go overboard, then it can be profitable if you do it right.
Fantastic. Jeff, listen, I've really enjoyed the conversation. It's nice to talk to someone about crypto, if I'm honest with you, and just pick your brains a little bit. If people want to reach out to you, if they want to connect with you, find out a little bit more about what you're doing or about CoinPass, what's the best way to do that?
It's definitely LinkedIn. It's probably my platform of choice at the moment. Not really on Facebook that much, so you can look me up on LinkedIn. Just look for coinpass.com and you'll see us under the company page, or just look for me directly, Jeff Hancock on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Well, we will, of course, put all of that information in the show notes as well, including the links to CoinPass and to Jeff's LinkedIn. So they'll be in the notes, and if you've not signed up for them already, you can get them at pushtobemore.com. But that's another story. Jeff, listen, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I'm definitely going to be checking out your blog because I need to be understanding an awful lot more about what's going on in the world. No, I appreciate it. And thanks for sharing your advice. Thanks for sharing your insight. It's been a thoroughly enjoyable conversation.
Oh, thank you for having me on there, Matt. I really appreciate the invite. And if anyone has wants to reach out, please do. There are no stupid questions. I think one thing you take from this, even if you never get into crypto, if you never start a business, there should never be an excuse to be afraid of asking a question. My entire IT career for 16 years doing cybersecurity, data leak prevention, all the stuff I did with some of the biggest hedge funds in the world was about asking questions. Whether it's asking Google or asking someone directly, you can never get where you're trying to go or get the right information without asking questions, and even challenging what you learn sometimes. I challenged a multi-billion-dollar company on, we want to run Microsoft and Google side by side. I'm like, that is a really bad idea, and here's why. Unfortunately, I lost, and I documented it, but luckily I never had to maintain it after I built it. So, it doesn't hurt to ask questions. There is never a stupid question. So if you have a stupid question about crypto, please feel free to reach out. If I can answer it, I will, or I can send you one of our blog articles. We've written about it before.
Fantastic. No stupid question. Love that. It's very true. Very true.
I might ask a stupid question, but I might get a stupid answer as well, which I'm totally cool with.
Yeah, absolutely.
But thank you, Matt. I really enjoyed it. I will look back through some of your old podcasts while I'm doing a workout or a drive. So thank you for your time.
No worries. It's been great, man. Genuinely, really appreciated it. Also, a big shout out to today's show sponsor, Orion Media. If you're wondering if podcasting is a good marketing strategy for your business, and I think it probably is, do connect with them at orionmedia.com. gmail.com. And be sure to follow Push to Be More wherever you get your podcasts from, because we've got yet more great conversations lined up, and I don't want you to miss any of them. And in case no one has told you yet today, dear listener, you are awesome. Yes, you are. Created awesome. It's just a burden you have to bear. Jeff has to bear it. I've got to bear it. You've got to bear it as well. Now, Push to Be More is produced by Orion Media. You can find our entire archive of episodes on your favorite podcast app. The team that makes this show possible is Sadaf Bainon, Estella Robin, and Tanya Hutzlak. Our theme music is by Jeff Hancock. And as I mentioned, the transcript and show notes are all available on the website pushtobemore.com. That's it from me. That's it from Jeff. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic week wherever you are in the world. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.